Our work is not quite so much about measuring success after the event as about measuring the likelihood of success before it happens. Meaning, how do you select an investment? Selecting suitable investments is really what M-Cril is about, though we do some post-project impact assessment work also, and cost-benefit analyses and so on. We're into all kinds of economic analysis, but what we're best known for is helping social investors select suitable investments, and that's really what I'm going to be talking about. Essentially, what we're about is promoting transparency to facilitate the flow of funds. We started with microfinance, but we moved well beyond that into other socially relevant development activities. We've done a lot of work all over Asia, in former Soviet Union countries and in parts of Africa over the past 14, 15 years, though M-Cril is part of a group which has now been engaged in the development field in livelihoods and microfinance for nearly 35 years. So how do we help social investors select the right investments? One of the things that we've done over the years is to develop tools for assessing institutions, the work that they've done, and to determine whether the work they're doing is likely to create social impact. So you have a list of the things that we've done. Microfinance institutional rating, of course, well known. But the institutional rating that you see described here now is a much more evolved product than it used to be. It used to be a purely financial product. It now incorporates significant elements of social impact as well. There's also, of course, the social rating of MFIs, which is specifically about how well institutions are doing at generating a social impact. But we've moved beyond that to rating some investment intermediaries, and that's the microfinance investment vehicles. We started the rating of microfinance investment vehicles. So if you're a high net worth individual and are thinking of putting money into an investment fund, we rate organizations of that type as well. Because over the years, having understood what's happening in the field, we realized that it's not always the problem of the implementers at the field level. Quite often, the messages coming from the investment intermediaries, in this case, the microfinance investment funds, is not always the right one. And so you need to select the right investment vehicle if you're going to make the right investments in social development. As an organization, EDA and M-Cril, EDA is the parent organization of M-Cril. We've always been interested in working with NGOs and the social development they do in the field. But now, after doing some work along with the Global Impact Investing Network, contributing to the development of their rating system, and also learning from that, we've now started the assessment of NGOs engaged in community development programs. We've done a number of these ratings in India and are starting to move beyond India on this. So it's the wider area of community development that we become involved in, and value chain promotion programs. And I was happy to see in the last session that BRAC are becoming involved in low-cost private schools, because this is an interest that we have had for several years now, and have undertaken assessments of several hundred low-cost private schools in India to, again, to help investors understand which are the schools that are likely to have the greatest impact in working with the children of low-income families. The issue of measuring impact is essentially that people value what they measure. Measuring makes the investment in what Durreen has described as the core activities of social investing. But it makes it much more effective. The way we do it is that we look at outreach. Where is the investment taking place? Is it taking place in the poorest areas, in the areas most in need? Is it rural, urban? Who is it reaching? You may feel that putting money, for instance, into a microfinance institution will lead to substantial social benefit, but it's not always what you think is happening. A lot of MFIs, their poverty profile of their clients is not as good, is not as deep. I didn't mean as good, I meant as bad, actually. So it's not as deep as the poverty profile of the country or the region in which they operate. Actually, there's going to be a webinar on this in which both microfinance and M-Cril are going to be speaking on the 3rd of July, where we'll be presenting our findings from dozens of social ratings, which show, unfortunately, that significant numbers of MFIs, their poverty profile is not as good as you would expect it to be, the poverty profile of their clients. So you need to be reaching the right people. You need to be working on the access to social infrastructure of the kind of people that you're trying to help, availability of drinking water, sanitation, health facilities, primary education, and so on. And we also look at the feedback from the participants. You may be working with the right people, but how appropriate are the services to their needs? How appropriate are those services to their needs? And from the perspective of the target profile of clients, do the services meet the needs in the right way? So what is the quality of the services that are being delivered? And then, of course, the whole area of effectiveness, the cost of the services that are being delivered. Are they being delivered effectively and efficiently? Now, there's also the question of standardization versus flexibility. A lot of people say that one of the problems with tools is that they result in a great amount of standardization, and that's not always appropriate in different types of contexts. Tools are always a question of how well they are used. So if you're aware that a tool needs to be applied sensitively and appropriately to the context in which it is to be used, then it will be used. Then you will get a standard output with a flexible approach. And that's really what we're about, where we need standardization so that there is a basis for comparison, but allowing for varying needs and conditions and constraints in different situations is also important. And the best assessment systems take account of that. So to conclude, when it comes to allocating resources, there's not necessarily a trade-off between putting resources into measurement. Why should we spend so much money in the measurement of impact, in the measurement of the likelihood of whether we will achieve impact, when the same money can be placed in actual core programs in the field? We believe there's no trade-off, actually, because a lot of institutions don't take enough care in investing in what you might call core activities. They often end up wasting all their money. Here we're talking about a small proportion of the resources that you're going to put into impact investment being used to ensure that you get it right. And that's what these tools are about. So there needs to be more focus on ensuring that there is not a complete waste of core funds as a result of the funds being misdirected. This is the problem that we in M-Cril and in EDA have sought to address over the years. Thank you. There are a couple of, I have a few leaflets about our work, and afterwards I'd be happy to distribute those to anyone who's interested. Thank you.
Thank you, Sanjay. Fabio?
Okay, so thank you very much. Good morning to everybody. Thank you for the invitation. Is it okay? Yeah. Okay. So I just want to briefly introduce who we are and what we are doing in the space of impact measurement. Basically, impact finance management, our core activity is fund management. So we are specialized in impact investing, defined as investment with an impact on the base of the pyramid in particular. And impact finance management is a fund manager based in Switzerland, and we manage a fund called Impact Finance Fund. It's a Luxembourg fund, mainly providing debt, some equity, and really focusing on projects, organization with the impact on the base of the pyramid. So this is, let's say, our mandate and what we want to do. When we design our project, we realized that we needed to add a couple of components to this, our core activity. So the first one is on the left, and it's called the incandescent lab, but it's a kind of accelerator. So in some cases, exactly because the industry is still immature, and there are a lot of interesting projects, but they are not really investable at this stage, we feel that there is a need to support, to scale up, and to improve the business model. So when needed, we provide some assistance in order to improve the business model. And this is the first part. But then the other part, and just to come back to the main theme of this panel, is how we measure the impact of our action. All of us, all the founders of Impact Finance Management, have been working in the microfinance sector. And one of the important lessons that we learn is that it's important from the very beginning to really try to focus and to give evidence of what we are doing also in terms of impact and social and environmental impact of our investment. So from the very beginning, we basically focused on the fact to have a system that allows us to, on one side, of course, we need to track the financial performance, but also at the same level to focus on impact and social impact of our investment. So at that time, when we started, we basically served the system in place, the existing alternatives. And we realized that nothing will really fit our need. And so we basically decided to design a tool